Welcome. This is Bridges, where we talk about all forms of relationships and lifestyle. I want to use this medium to thank those of you who have subscribed to my channel in these past few days. I really appreciate you. Thank you so much. And then I also want to thank my old subscribers. It is because you believe in me and what you get here. That is why you stayed put. I do appreciate you still. Thank you so much. While still in heavy hearts concerning the deaths of the young guy I've been talking about for the past few days, Mohbad, it's beginning to dawn on me and maybe to a larger population that come rain, come shine, the deed has been done. What has happened, and we're beginning to come to terms with it. Today, the police brought the public up to speed concerning their investigation. And you know, they are trained, they are experienced in aligning issues, chronologically aligning happenings, and their explanation looked detailed about the investigation so far. But before I continue with the issue at hand, I want to address a few things I noticed in the course of this whole happening. Number one was the issue of Mohbad's wife. She was being constantly bullied too by the public concerning DNA test. You know one thing, what happened was the death of her husband, and the next moment she's been accused of infidelity. She's also been accused of covering up a heinous crime of putting a baby to her husband. I'm not here to say whether it is true or not, but it is important to always stick to the issues. The issue was the death of the husband. It is true we're looking at the causes or the possible causes of his death. Whereas there were no indicators to prove that she was unfaithful to the young man, the public made it an issue and they were calling her out, come out and say your own, this and that and that. They were pinning a lot of things to her. That's unfair. And even if the baby wasn't Mohbad's, in the course of investigation, it might be noticed. It's also a family affair if they decide to keep it to themselves. I do really commend her patience in not jumping to the social media to defend that aspect of her life, trying to please the public to say, I'm innocent of my husband's death. And I'm sure that a lot of people who have taken it upon themselves to be shouting concerning that particular matter would not like it if they were treated the same way. Secondly, I don't know how people would look at a child and say because the child, one person, I will show you the clip, that guy was saying,
you will agree with me that Mohbad is not the biological father in the sense that the boy, that Leham, Opopa, very fair in complexion. Mohbad is dark in complexion. Mama Mohbad is dark in complexion. Baba Mohbad is dark in complexion. Ejo, where do they bring Oyibo boy?
Mohbad is not fair. The wife is not fair. In Papa no fair. In Mama no fair. He listed a lot of people he feels he knows are not fair, and then that they have Oyibo baby. How come? You know, when you make such allegations, there is a way you say it. Not like you are too sure. You are 100% sure. The color of the skin is not what is used to determine paternity. Such people go ahead and display massive ignorance and think that they are wise. Please, when you accuse Naira Marley of bullying, make sure you are also not caught up doing the same thing to another person. You can criticize, but learn to articulate your points without maligning anybody. In the course of this whole thing too, the two ladies that volunteered to run around concerning this matter, Iyabo Ojo and Tonto Dike, have been dragged by the public. I might know one or two things about them and maybe past issues, but it is also very important not to use the bias in one's mind to judge anybody. It's always good to stay on the matter. And then I want to say that it wasn't also fair whether they displayed caskets or where they went to buy caskets or not. Mohbad became a public matter the day we started shouting justice for Mohbad. He also became a public property the day the police took up the investigation and vowed to carry people along.
And also flew all the way down, to the end. We've been able to speak to the CEO of this place, and we're making a lot of progress. So you want to check the caskets out. And like we promised, we're always going to carry you guys along. So you guys can follow us and check the caskets together.
So those two women were doing what they felt was in the interest of transparency. And they were also being dragged. Some people say they were chasing clout, and it's so unfortunate that they don't realize that some people have to be on ground. They either cannot submit themselves to the rigors these people go through, abandoning their personal businesses and other things to pursue this matter, but they are somewhere castigating those who have made themselves available. I want to say that someone has to be on ground. Someone has to be doing the run around. You know, when we say, let them do this, let them do that, Nigeria is this, Nigeria is that, they should do this, they should not agree, let them do like this. Who are they? And nobody, you will not come out to be the person. Who are they? It has to be someone. And then when someone comes out, make sure also that you are not tearing them apart. Sometimes, let's watch it whether our motives are driven by jealousy or by genuine intentions. Even if you think they are chasing clout or getting clout, there are privileges you enjoy by either being a member of a set or by doing something. The reason of their involvement in that matter, they were going to be in the center of attraction, and automatically they will have the clout. So you don't have to accuse them of chasing clouds. It will naturally happen. That's by the way. It's always good to have a larger heart. Let's move back to the investigation concerning the death of Mohbad. Few hours, the internet was agog just because the police placed a bounty on one of the suspects they felt haven't given his own testimony. And then everybody started saying, the killers of Mohbad have been found. Did this one, that boy, they started saying a lot. And just about the moment he opened his mouth, they changed it, turned to his wife. I said it was his wife. She should tell us what she knows. This and that. Are you seeing it? So the moment that guy came out and said his own side of the story, the public exonerated him, but the police is not exonerating him. In the series of the videos I have made so far on this, you can see how cold I am. I'm really, really cold because I don't know what to say. The summary of the update from the police today boils down to the fact that the principal actors in the series of events that have brought Mohbad to where he is today are going free. They are walking tall as smooth operators. Whichever way it goes, there are many lessons to learn. When things like this happen, we console ourselves. That is where that saying comes in. God, give me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change and the wisdom to know the difference. It is in a matter like this. I was crying few days ago and still crying now, but there is a tranquility that is coming to my heart, like that of a child that was treated unfairly, and he's saying, okay, let it be. I cannot help it. I don't know if you understand what I mean. We are beginning to let go. If you listen to the police account and the account of the boy, you guys were saying he has come out to say what happened and it is Mohbad's wife. That guy didn't mention that in the process of fighting with Mohbad, he sustained an injury which caused the swelling of the hands and the pains that warranted inviting the nurse.
His wife was sitting down at our middle. and Mohbad was sitting down there, and his wife was holding down Liam. That was his son. So I was not like, you can see your son here, you don't need to do all this. Then he came down and turned, like maybe my own is getting too much, maybe in his family, and he asked me, he just opened the door, and because there was security with him, army, Onyabo, because they were shocked that Mohbad came down without going on stage. So they followed him to where I was sitting, and then he opened the car. I was like, okay, lo shele bye. He started hitting me and saying like, prime. I said, okay, lo shele. The next thing, say, oya bole.
5 suspects have so far been identified, arrested, and detained and interrogated on their alleged roles in the sequence of events that led to the death of the singer. The summary is as follows. Ms. Feyi Sayo Ogedengbe is the auxiliary nurse who was contacted and invited by Yobami Sadiq, aka Spending, a friend of Mohbad, on 11 September 2023 to treat the singer at the deceased residence in Lekki. She eventually came on Tuesday, 12 September 2023 and administered 3 different injections, which are believed to have occasioned the chain of reactions that directly resulted in the eventual death of the singer. She is the principal suspect in the death of Mohbad.
So, in all these things, the summary we can see now is that the auxiliary nurse has become the principal actor. So unfortunate. Let's be praying. Make we dey pray, say God, when it dey happen for front, make a day back. And when it dey happen for back, make it beside day front. The 3 principal suspects now, which are Mohbad's friend Ibrahim, the nurse, and the one that invited the nurse, probably were acting out of good intentions, or better still, playing out a larger script. But see how events are turning solely to them. And I will summarize this my ranting. It is the ranting of a wounded soul. I will summarize this ranting of a wounded soul with this analogy. My people used to say that when they cut, it's not when it dies. When a tree, a plant is cut down, it's not really when the leaves go dry. Meaning that there has to be a time when everybody will feel that this is exactly what happened, whereas there is a program that has just culminated. Let me say it this way, maybe we in Africa will understand it better from that angle. We like to interrogate the spiritual angle of every matter. Things don't happen in vain, and we believe that the spirit realm controls the physical realm. That someone's fate would have been decided from the underworld or from the quarters of the spirit realm for it to manifest physically. If you like, equate it to a larger script that I talked about in my previous videos that has been played out by agencies. It still boils down to something controlling something. You know, when somebody is about to die, there are certain behaviors you start seeing. If you have lived with dogs before, it will also explain to you that behavior. The moment when a dog is about to die, it starts misbehaving, scattering places, you know, doing anyhow. And that time you will know that it is battling with death. So the series of events that happened between the time of the show Mohbad attended and the time he died looked to me like a similar situation, like that of a dying dog. When someone is dying, there are behaviors he's going to be putting up that everybody will say, at last, he did like this, he knew he was going to die, he was battling with death, his spirit wasn't at rest, he was just, you know, it was said that he was so tipsy, he was troublesome, or, you know, in those last moments, somebody will say, death is calling him. The same thing, calling him, will manipulate him into all those events that will lead to the final termination of his life. That is a spiritual angle to the whole thing. The summary of the whole thing now is boiling down to one thing, that these three people mentioned as principal actors will be charged with maybe involuntary manslaughter. I don't know what will be their fate, but I pray that everyone involved that have not acted out of negative intentions will find closure, and that those who have acted out of negative intentions or have a hand in whatever happened will also receive their own lots by the Supreme Judge. We can only pray that God takes control of everything. But I also wish that all the issues that the public have cried out for will be looked into. Nigerians have suffered a lot and are still suffering. It will be said that Nigeria happens to all Nigerians, and it's a matter of whose turn it will be. Nigeria just happened to Mohbad and to whoever will be the final culprit if they were really acting out of good intentions. May God give us all peace and grant Imoli what is required to face the other side of life. I just decided to do this short kind of broadcast on this matter because I have been on it. Thank you so much for listening, and don't forget to subscribe. Ciao.